the real meaning. As you know, translation is actually a matter of transferring meaning from the source language to the target language. So it's important for the translator to understand which equivalent is appropriate. Now, the biggest mistake that a translator makes is that when he comes across a new word, he will instantly check his dictionary. That is wrong, because what we do as a translator is just to choose the equivalent. The equivalent is given in a dictionary. So how and when to use a dictionary depends on the text. You don't just go to your dictionary and open it for the equivalent. For example, when there is a word in the source language, there can be more than 20 meanings in the target language dictionary. And so you have to choose. Now, which equivalent is appropriate depends on the context. The context is very important. Example, what's the text about, how it is related to other words. Then, from this, you can choose the appropriate equivalent. Of course, doing that takes some analysis. For example, you have to know which word is acceptable in the target language, particularly when it comes to the metaphorical language. For example, when you say, saya sakit perut, you cannot just translate it into my stomach is sick. Instead, you have to analyze the context, the real meaning in English. So, saya sakit perut, the appropriate equivalent is my stomach aches or I have a stomach ache. Now, in doing the translation, we need other instruments that are needed. For example, encyclopedias or glossaries. All the words in these dictionaries, encyclopedias, and other resources of information are really important for the translator to choose the right equivalent. Now, before you go on to finding the equivalents, you have to follow the procedures. Now, the simple procedure is you have to read the text entirely, completely, to understand it completely, because you cannot just start doing the translating by picking up the word in the source language and then find the meaning in the target language. Instead, you have to understand the whole text perfectly well, or otherwise you may lose the real equivalence. Now, that is the procedure you have to read, and then you have to check whether the equivalent is acceptable or communicative in the target language. That is the most important thing that a translator must remember. You cannot just use your dictionary as soon as you see an unfamiliar word. Instead, you have to read the whole text and understand the context of the word before you find the equivalent in your dictionary. I mean the bilingual dictionary. I think that's all I want to say about how to find an equivalent. I'm Lidiman Sinaga from the English Department, State University of Medan, Unimed. I'll see you again in our program. Thank you. Bye-bye.